As many of you guys know, all the fight fans and non-fight fans, the biggest fight of the year is usually when Floyd Mayweather fights. Now, he is getting paid for this fight. Want to take a guess? You probably couldn't come up with the number unless you already know it. $41.5 million for not even an hour's worth of work. We bring in Robert Exel, the editor-in-chief of Boxing.com. Robert has been around the fight game for such a long time. So, Robert, against Robert Guerrero, he made $32 million, and that was his last fight when he signed a lucrative deal with Showtime. He jumped ship from HBO to Showtime. He just seems to keep racking it in, doesn't he, Robert?
He does indeed. The numbers speak for themselves, and there's no arguing with success. He has sort of created a new business model for fighters, and I think it's a business model that the fighters who are able to adopt will adopt. Truth be known, there's no reason for the person who is doing the fighting not to take in the bulk of the money. They're the ones who are risking life, limb, et cetera, in the ring. The promoters sit back and they promote, but they're not in there fighting. They're not getting hit. They're not risking their lives for our entertainment viewing pleasure. Mayweather has created this new model. He is obviously the superstar. He is the most highly paid athlete on the planet for years running now, and he is upping the ante. It's really an incredible thing to see, in part because it's happening to a boxer, and we know how boxing is regarded by the public at large. But the pay-per-view fights, the super fights, are spectacles. And somehow or other, Mayweather has hooked into whatever it is that makes a spectacle, and people tune in. And they're going to tune in on September 14th as well.
As you said, he is the highest paid athlete on the Forbes list. He was #1 last year, set to become #1 this year once again. It's amazing. He is going to make as much money as Canelo Alvarez has wins on his career. Canelo has 42. Mayweather's getting paid $41.5 million. Incredible. You talked about the model that he has set. What model is that exactly? Basically,
the model is to self-promote, not to have to rely on a promotional entity separate and apart from the fighter himself. He has Mayweather Promotions, and of course he sort of works hand in hand with Golden Boy, but Mayweather Promotions, the TMT team, is really promoting this fight so that he doesn't have to give a large portion of his purse to his promoter, whoever that promoter might be or might have been. He also gets a piece of all the concessions. I mean, he gets a piece of everything. I think he gets a piece of the hookers' work in Vegas that weekend. I mean, he is smart. He understands that he is the attraction. He is the one. Even if Canelo wins, he's not going to be the one. Mayweather is the one. And God bless him. An interesting thing, however, is that Mayweather is a purist fighter. He's not the kind of fighter that fight fans usually care for. They like Arturo Gatti. They like Mike Tyson. They like somebody who is sort of, breathes fire and drinks petrol and kind of do or die. Mayweather's this technician. He's subtle. He's like, he's the defensive master. And yet, somehow he's captured the public imagination.
He also broke the pay-per-view record with $2.44 million when he fought Oscar De La Hoya. So it's not like he doesn't know what he's doing. I mean, as you said, the money team is certainly doing their thing. Signing that new deal with Showtime certainly helps. But I think correct me if I'm wrong, he captured the public's imagination by being the villain who continues to win.
Absolutely. Every white hat requires a corresponding black hat, and he has donned the black hat. It suits him well. It's a bit of an act, but there's elements of truth to that as well. And yet the sort of flip side of Mayweather, even though he's on the downside of his career, would be Pacquiao, who is, the quintessential white hat and has equal amounts of popularity. So even though Mayweather is sort of the trash-talking tough guy, from the streets of Grand Rapids, and Pacquiao is, the unicorn-loving future president of the Philippines, they both have these built-in audiences. And again, they're sort of extremes, both pugilistically and in terms of personality. And Mayweather, to his credit, I mean, he saw his opening and he took it.
Certainly, and he certainly built it up by also winning tremendous amount of fights. Robert Exel, the editor-in-chief of Boxing.com.